In today's episode, pedo father gets short sentence, he never left the prison alive. Vigilante justice on serial rapist 1959. So let's get started. Pedo father gets short sentence, he never left the prison alive. This story has sat with me for a few years now, and I feel like I am ready to share it. My father sexually abused me and my siblings growing up. I was the youngest of 3 siblings, and was the one that spoke out, eventually getting him arrested. He only got charged with 1 count against my sister. Me and my brother have spoken about what happened a few times and both feel we never got justice for what he did. He got 4 years in federal prison as well as charges for having drugs and some illegal weapons, an assault rifle and pistol that weren't registered in Canada BTW. For a time in my teenage years, I ended up living in a bad neighborhood, living with my gang member friends and selling drugs to pay for myself to eat. Don't judge me for that, I only sold weed which can't kill anyone, so I feel fine about it. One day a higher up in the gang my friends were in came by our apartment because I was selling a lot of weed and he was beginning to not like it. He gave me a booty and I respected him since he respected me being just a kid trying to finish high school. The higher up, let's call him Greg, fake name, would come by once a week to check in, but not in a bad way. Greg actually helped me out, so a month after meeting him, I didn't need to sell anymore. He helped with bills and groceries, etc. When I asked him why, he told me he knew my dad in jail. The following story is what I remember from what he told me. The prison confirmed this story when I asked, after I turned 18. Greg had been in prison for 3 years when my dad arrived at the prison. Greg and my dad turned out to be cellmates. Greg explained to me that my dad never seemed right, and over a year he managed to gain his trust. My dad revealed to him that he wasn't caught for assaulting multiple people in his charge, but didn't actually tell him what he did. Greg, being in a semi-powerful gang, used his connections to find out exactly what my dad did. Greg didn't want to ruin getting out, so all he did was tell the more respected prisoners, of which will never see freedom again, and do not have morals. My father was raped, beaten, burned, stabbed and beaten again for months before he died. And all I can say is I wish it lasted longer. Greg put the pieces together, and looked out for me for 2 years when I had no one. Greg got the justice that me and my siblings really deserved. Maybe not nuclear, but when I think about the months of torture he endured, I feel those prisoners got better revenge than I could ever have gotten. I am great now. Greg is kind of like an old crazy uncle now. He got shot in the arm and gave up the gang life. I think I got everything, but if anyone has questions, go ahead and ask. Vigilante justice on serial rapist 1959. Alright, I seriously debated posting this, but I have decided to share it. So when I got out of the Navy in 1958, like many young men, I joined a fraternity. Now most of the brothers were nice people except this **hole we'll call Brad. Brad was a 4-time legacy from our fraternity. At first, he seemed nice, but after he became a fully initiated member, he let his inner ass show. He was such an ass because he would always show off with daddy's money. He was 18 and never had a job. He always got super drunk at the parties and got handsy with other people's girlfriends. Now his dad was a political figure in Sacramento, and his mother's father worked in the California system of higher education. Brad knew that he was untouchable and wasn't afraid to let you know. Brad in 1959 crashed 3 cars because he drove drunk. His parents bought a new Cadillac each time because he claimed someone stole and crashed his. When his parent bought him a Buick convertible, he said that he has a reputation to uphold and doesn't want people to think that he is poor. A couple of months into the fall semester and Brad is drunkenly harassing women at the party, even saying lewd and suggestive things to them. We try to cut him off, but he keeps going on. Some of us go and leave Brad to himself. Hours later we see a girl leaving Brad's room. I'm thinking in my head she doesn't want to be seen taking the walk of shame. She just cries while covering her face and holding her shoes. I knock on Brad's door and he says, "Ready for round 2? Get your ass on the bed." When he sees that it is me, he put his clothes on. I ask why that girl was crying and he said, How the F***ck should I know? But she was blonde, tan, tight. I ignore him, but I tell the other brother what happened. They know that he is a pig and just brushed it off. A couple of days later police came to our house and arrested Brad for rape. Apparently, they were watching him because 13 other girls were accusing him. Now Brad had this birthmark on his private parts. So the statements from the girls were taken into account and he was arrested. The evidence was undeniable, especially with the details that the girls were giving regarding Brad. Due to him being a sexual predator, he was expelled from the chapter, without him knowing important later, so we in one of the sororities on campus started a support group for the victims. Girl 1 was saying how Brad made her feel, and that she wanted to get back at him. Girl 2 was talking about if she had the chance she would kick his ass. So one of our brothers, who we'll call Ralph, said, "Ralph, well, why don't you?" Girls, what? Ralph, when he comes back to the house we can take him somewhere and you can have some time with him. In the desert, alone. So mere days after Brad was arrested he was bailed out the help from mommy and daddy, and he came back to the house. We started lying, saying how we know that the charges were BS. He said, "Brad, yeah, my dad has a whole team of lawyers representing me, this is going to go away fast." Brad gets drunk but Ralph roofied him. Ralph and some of the other guys proceed to drive 3 hours east from the coast into the California desert. Ralph and some of the other guys meet the 9 of the 13 girls in the desert. They wake up Brad, who is still somewhat drunk, and push him out of the car. Now as Brad wakes up I was told that he went pale-face as he saw the women that he victimized were standing over him with blunt objects, stabbing weapons, and a shovel. Brad cries out to Ralph and the other guys. Brad, sniffling, "You can't leave me here alone." Ralph said, "Ralph, you aren't alone, you have plenty of company, and you know everybody there." The guys drove off and the girls came back to campus 3 hours later, with dirt on their clothes and a red-stained potato sack. Us guys never knew what became of Brad. But to this day when we see the remaining girls that are living, we never ask. Thanks for reading.